Good morning, everyone. My name is Remy Quinones. I'm a parent coordinator here at Landmark High School, and I'm joined with phenomenal student representatives of the Consortium school model, and I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves, your name, your grade, and what school you're representing. So we can just go right across the line here.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Stephanie. I'm a student at Beacon High School, and I'm a senior.
Hi, my name is Nisha. I'm a student at Landmark, and I'm a junior.
Hello, my name is Kiefer, and I'm a graduate from International Community High School who is currently working as the administrative assistant to the principal.
Hello, my name is Noel, and I'm a 12th grader, and I go to Humanities Preparatory Academy.
Thank you guys all for introducing yourselves. So I want you guys to share with the group a couple of interesting activities or an interesting assignment that you've done in class recently. You want to go first? Sure.
I can start. So I guess for me, an interesting assignment that I've done recently was in my physiology class. We do a lot of presentations in that class, but for this presentation, we had to do something like out of the box. So instead of like doing like a regular slides presentation, we had to portray our work on a sheet of paper, and we only had one sheet of paper to use it. So we were really being concise in the information that we gave, but at the same time we had to make it like colorful and eye-catching just so no one would be like bored or deterred from our information. And I think that project really helped me to like simplify my information while still not leaving anything out or being too simplified or like having people not want to see the information that I present.
It's great. Recently, in my neuroscience class, we're preparing for our PVAT, which we're taking in April. And in order for our PVAT, we had to do an experiment on a group of our fellow students to see how a question that we made up on our own on a topic that we got to pick would affect them. And the topic I chose was how makeup affects perceived attractiveness. And so I did that by having multiple images of different people wearing different lipstick colors, and I took surveys of different students on which color like attracted them the most, and it was really like fun to see how the different grades and different like maturity levels analyzed everything, and it was like good because it was a collaborative effort, like the whole school was involved, and it was just a really fun day.
During my 12th grade back in 2018, during my math class, we were particularly in statistics, we were able to choose a topic that we wanted to research about, and I decided to compare non-consortium schools versus consortium schools that are internationals, and to see which system was more successful, right? And because I was so used to the test model back home, of course, prior to coming to the United States, and my PVAT I was able to demonstrate that consortium schools that are part of the international network are more successful than the non-consortium schools.
For me, it was probably in my math class, specifically algebra 2. What we did is that we had to one of our projects was to build a roller coaster. So we had to use construction paper, tape, glue, and we had to make loops, hills, turns and stuff like that. And after we made that, our teacher was like, all right, now graph it. Use the equations that we've been learning in class and mimic your roller coaster onto Desmos. It's like a graphing calculator when it comes to parabolas. So that was interesting because not only can we use our own creative artistic ability to how to make the roller coaster however we want, we also have to relate it to math. And then after that, we also have to kind of go back into physics in a sense, because then we had to use the equations for speed and velocity and stuff like that to find out how fast because we used a marble to test if the roller coaster would work. So we had to use those equations to see how fast the marble was going and such.
Thank you all for sharing. So I want you guys to compare your experiences being a consortium student to maybe some friends or maybe some family members who don't necessarily go to a consortium school. So share any experiences. You can talk about your relationships, whether it's with your student body, your teachers and staff members. and any opportunities and the support that you get compared to those that you know who don't go to a consortium school. Anyone can share?
Well, one of my closest friends does go to a Regent school, and me being in a consortium school, we talk about the differences a lot because she recently had to take all of her Regents and all the testing, and she came up to me at the other day. She's like, I don't remember anything after she took her test. She did not retain any information. She just studied the study guide, and I'm just like, I was confused because here at conservative schools, it's like it's not just we study and take a presentation or make a presentation. It's like it's a collaborative. It's like we see every step of the way of everything we're doing, and the teachers are so helpful in the sense of like if you don't understand one aspect, we'll go to that one aspect and we'll target that, and that just completely affects how your outcome of your PBAT is. I've completed 3 out of the 4 PBATs. I did my English one early because it's usually taken in my senior year. And it would have been able without like my AP Lit teacher and my English teacher helping me and like always like, okay, this word you can change it to make it sound more professional. And then when it came to my presentation, instead of like having a slideshow, we had more of like a panel just like this, and it was like 3 other students and 2 English teachers discussing like different questions about our PBATs, and it just made me feel so much more comfortable, and I felt so confident and like I know what I'm doing. I feel very confident in the sense of like I know what I'm talking about. I read these books. I wrote this essay with so much passion and happiness because like I was prepared, and I feel like that's really what made the PBAT stand out to me, because if just taking a test, I knew I wouldn't feel prepared because I'm a horrible test taker, and it just gave me a different insight, and I was able to feel more confident in my own intelligence and my own, work ethic.
I definitely agree. I also have a friend who goes to like a Regents-based school, and like the difference between us was like leading up to the Regents, he felt so like stressed and like overwhelmed, as in like because he had to study so many different topics at once to take the test in like 1 week. Wow, because like I did all my 4 PBATs already last year, so like during the same time I was also working on my PBATs, and like because it's like there's a group of 3 of us, so like the difference is like when we're like together, you can see that my friend was like so drained and tired and like exhausted leading up to the Regents and after. But then like with me, I was able to get rest in a sense. I was able to get sleep, and I was able to just be more like aware. And then I don't know, I feel like the PBATs give you more confidence in the Regents, because in the Regents you're so worried about like getting something wrong or having enough time to finish. But like with the PBATs, you literally just take all the time you need. It's like when you're presenting and stuff like that, it's literally as long as you can take and stuff like that. So I don't know, it left me more confident in getting a good grade than how my friends.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'd say that PBATs have given me a lot more confidence in the sense that I'm doing a presentation instead of like putting my thinking like just onto a paper, and then the examiner or the person who is grading my test will interpret it what I said how they want. I really have like the freedom in a PBAT to like say what I want and how I want to say it and present it in the form that I feel most comfortable in. So I've definitely felt like more confidence in presentation skills, like making slideshows and things like that. And also in terms of my friends, I feel like my friends, they're a lot of the time they retain information only for a certain period of time, and then after that they forget it, or when they're like making like an essay or things like that, they'll write their essay but they're not proud of their essay, or they'll write the essay just for the purpose of submitting it. Whereas me and a lot of my friends at my school, a lot of times we write essays and we feel very confident in our essays and we're very proud of them and we want other people to read them. And even like outside of class, we'll like go around and share essays and be like, oh, look what I wrote. Do you think this is cool? Or like, do you like this? How can I improve this? So I feel like there's a lot of like passion within that, and a lot of people like wanting to learn, like having a curiosity and like a craving to keep learning.
And also, I can tell that PBATs really helped me, as well as many of my friends, to be college ready, because I'm a recent graduate from Lehman College, and because PBATs are process that you have made, it's your own creation, it's very difficult for you to forget. Sometimes when I was in college classes, I had to revisit my PBATs, in order for me to fully understand a topic. For example, my first math class in college was a statistics class. So because PBATs are so detailed and we need to explain every step of the way, I was able to fully understand the concept in my college class because I was able to revisit my PBAT. Also, a difference also between base region schools and consortium schools is the fact that not you only create a PBAT, but you also present it to a panel, and that panel is testing you on whether you know the topic or not. It's not that sometimes there is a misconception that PBATs are easy in their regions, but it's basically you are putting into practice whatever you learn in your class, and you are able to produce a whole research paper and use it as a tool for the future. Even for my humanities classes, I'm in grad school still. I just started grad school and I still go back to the regions. To the consortium system to get my projects done.
Wow. Impactful stories. So with that being said, mentioning PBATs and how often you guys go back and remember and retain the information, and just the consortium school system in general, what kind of advice or what piece of advice would you give to someone who has just been admitted to your school, a consortium school? Sure.
One piece of advice I would take big on is being social and looking out for different students and for different teachers and counselors, because especially at Landmark, the school I attend, counseling is huge. Our college counselor, Karina, is constantly organizing trips, constantly organizing programs, internships, and just lining students up. And it's so many opportunities that she's helping you apply, helping you get into information for, getting your documents. And she was actually grateful for her because she was actually able to help me apply to my study abroad program to study in Italy this summer, and I got accepted with the full scholarship where I'll be going to Rome this summer. And I wouldn't be able to do that without seeking Karina. And in 9th grade, I remember, because it was half virtual, blended, and I was just what am I gonna do for lunch? I don't know where to go. I have no friends yet because it was still really awkward because of COVID. And then I stumbled upon Karina's office, and Karina was just open doors. It's what's your name? Anything you're interested in, and it was just opportunities after opportunities. And it's such an amazing thing to feel so safe and comfortable in an environment where you feel like you can go to any teacher or any paraprofessional, and they just become your guidance, and they just become your friends in reality instead of just someone who's in charge of you.
For me, I think my piece of advice would just be take all the time you need, because personally for me, I felt like going into high school, the way my middle school kind of prepared me for it was that everything was gonna kind of hit you all at once. You have to be prepared for all different type of projects, assessments, and stuff like that. But once I got here, I kind of learned to realize that the teachers are here for you. You're not here to learn from them in a sense. So every time, if you just need more time to understand a topic or do some work, or even if it's you just need more time to just get yourself sorted and ready, that time is there for you. You don't have to be scared to ask a teacher for an extension. You don't have to be scared to ask a teacher for more help, or even outside of class or during lunch. So yeah, my piece of advice would just be if you just need more time to definitely take it, to not let yourself get overwhelmed.
Excuse me 1 second. Omar is here to represent Baldwin also.
Omar, right?
Yep.
Hey, Omar.
Yeah.
If you can introduce yourself, your name, your grade, and what school you're representing.
Okay. Am I supposed to talk on one of these mics?
You can talk. We
Okay.
can hear you.
Well, hello. My name is Omar. I am a senior, and I'm representing the James Baldwin School on the 3rd floor. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. And the question that we are all sharing is, that we're all responding to is, what piece of advice would you give to someone who's just been admitted to your school? So we're discussing the consortium model, what experiences you have as a consortium student. So using those experiences, what piece of advice would you give to someone who is just admitted to your school?
Well, I guess the biggest piece of advice I can give is think outside of what you think a regular school is, and think broadly about yourself and like your creativity, because I think one of the best things about James Baldwin is the fact that you still learn the basic arithmetic, math, science, ELA, writing, but I think the best part is that you learn it in a creative way, in a way that helps you learn, in a way that helps you think, in a way that helps you think more intuitively and creatively. I know for me personally, coming from a school in which the arts weren't really embraced, your legacy was defined by a test score, that was definitely something that I always felt as if was a slight on me, because no matter what, whether my test score was a 50, 70, 90, it never really mattered to me so long as, I felt as if I put my heart and I put my soul into the work. But to the teachers, that never really mattered to them, because if you didn't get a high grade, then you weren't considered a high student. You were considered someone who was outcasted and vilified and put in a box, someone who could never be anything to them. So coming from there to James Baldwin, in which everybody's embraced, no matter what your background is, no matter where you've come from, no matter how many schools you've been to, no matter what your age you are, right? I'm 19, so it's I think the fact that James Baldwin has embraced me and embraced every single student that comes through their doors, and helps them think about what they want out of life, whether that's college, not college, and figuring out what their creativity is, figuring out what their talents are. I think that's the best part about Baldwin. So.
For sure.
I'd say for me, the biggest advice I could give is to make use of your resources. Yeah. Yeah. I'd say for me, the biggest piece of advice is to make use of your resources. Just because for me, in middle school, I was a very shy kid. I didn't really reach out when I needed help, or if there were extra tutoring hours or teachers that could help me, I wouldn't reach out to them because I was a bit afraid of what they'd say to me. But once I got into Beacon, I found that there was a library, there was extra tutoring hours, there was an art studio where I could ask people for help. So I'd say to definitely make use of the things that you have, just because there are so many different people that can help you in so many different ways. When I was in freshman year, we had a thing called freshman rotation, where you take an elective for a quarter and then you'd switch to another elective to see what you'd like. And I wasn't really good at art. I've never been good at art, but there were so many kids who were good at art and were excited to share with me what they knew. So I'd sometimes just walk into the art studio and I'd have a whole table of people who would be ready and willing to help me. Or if I wanted to get a little bit extra help with math, I could go to SGI and tutoring hours, and my not even just my teachers, but other students and other staff would be very willing and very accepting of what I already knew and would want to help me even more. So I definitely say, when there are resources available, to go at them and take them as best as you can.
In my experience, my advice to that new student would be that it is okay if you do not speak, write, understand the English language, because that's the purpose of our school. Is for you to, at the end of the high school journey, to be able to understand English. As a person who did not speak English when I came into the United States back in 2014, it is okay to make mistakes. It is okay to, if you are not able to understand what the teacher is saying, because you have so many resources in the school that you're gonna be able to use them. You will have a good thing about my school is that 10th graders and 9th graders are in the same classroom. So the 10th graders are the leaders of the classrooms, where they can support the newcomers. And it is a great diverse environment. You see teachers from all over the world, and with similar experiences that you have gone through. And yes, the fact that also we have the PIVAT system is going to accelerate your reading, your analytical skills, your writing skills. So it is normal for you to not know English at the teenage age. It's normal. And the good in our school we have many alumni who are currently working. We are currently 15 ICHS alumni, and the fact that we are able to see alumni working in the school is also an example that you can be a member of the New York City Society or the United States Society.
Thank you so much for sharing. Very powerful insight and very powerful information and experiences that you guys have all shared. So this concludes our student panel as far as the questions that I have for you. But now we're going to open up the floor to questions from the audience. So if anyone has any questions for our wonderful student ambassadors, feel free to ask.
I think that the main characteristic is just dedicated and just open-minded, because I feel like after, if from grades, from kindergarten to 8th grade, we're tested on what do your multiplication tables, you have to know these terms on a test, and it's very much test-based. And so then coming to consortium school, you're like, oh wait, this is easy. I have to make one project and that's my graduation credit. No, it's open-minded. You have to be okay, there's steps to this. It's a process which you have to be very dedicated to make sure you complete all the requirements of the PBAT, which is a performance-based assessment test. We call it PBAT for short. But it's just dedication, and you just have to be open-minded and willing to try new things, because that's definitely going to be a big change, getting here from a majority-based, test-based school to a consortium school, because it's not something they're used to. So, yeah.
I would say for me, it's kind of being able to express yourself, who you are, because when it comes to the social life, when it comes to interacting with other students, you don't even have to be the most talkative person. If you're reserved to yourself, that's totally fine, as long as you're able to be honest with yourself and say this is who I am. Because it's I've learned that throughout interacting with my classmates, that everyone's just their own person. Everyone expresses themselves different ways. Everyone wants to wear different things, do different things. So as long as like how she said, as long as you're open-minded, not only what other people, and that other people are going to be different, but that you yourself are different, and you yourself are your own person, I feel that you'll be a perfect fit. Because you could be interested in a different amount of things, but as long as you know yourself, you're gonna have your own. People are gonna come to you. You don't have to be worried about fitting in. You don't have to worry about changing yourself so people can like you. As long as yourself, people will like you for who you are. You don't have to change yourself to just fit.
Yeah, I agree with what you guys said. I mean, I think anybody really, no matter what background they come from, can fit in a consortium school. And it's not just about, me personally, I'm more of a liberal arts person. I like the reading, I like the writing. But if you prefer math, there's always something for you. If you prefer science, there's always something for you. Anything, there's something for you. I think it speaks back to this idea of diversity, right? Everybody up here has a different story of how we ended up in a consortium school, whether we started in a consortium school, whether we joined a consortium school in the middle of our high school journey. But I think we can all agree that we all felt as if we fit in as soon as we got here. So I think that no matter where your background is, what you're interested in, where you're from, whether you're learning English or whether you're fluent in English, I think that consortium schools always have something for you. So any student, really, 7th, 8th grader, can join consortium school and fit in.
I'd also say somebody who's curious, just because for me personally, at a consortium school, I feel we're always learning beyond just what the test book has to offer us. especially in classes like English or history. I find that a lot of the students participate in a discussion in a way where it's not just we're saying the same ideas in different words. We're really having rich discussions and having like conversations with each other about material in a way that I thought wouldn't be possible in a non-consortium school. Like for me personally, I'm not a big fan of reading, but when I got to Beacon, I found that it wasn't that I wasn't a big fan of reading, it was just that the way I was being taught the books that I was reading wasn't a way that was enjoyable for me. So when I got to Beacon, I had people like giving me different ideas about things that I would have never thought about. So I was like, okay, let me go reread the book that I just read and see if I could find that within the text for myself. And usually I would, and it taught me to think about other things. So I feel like being in an environment with curious people, it also builds your own curiosity and it makes you think beyond what you could have thought.
For me, so I was new to the country. I thought that going to a new school outside of Europe, because I grew up in Europe, was gonna be very, very, I don't know, negative or very, very weird. But then I go to International Community High School. I see this new system. I was impacted, but in a positive way, because I felt like I already fit in from the first day. And that was even more surprising for me because back home it was all about memorizing historical dates and just copying and pasting without understanding. But I'm here, I'm discovering that I like writing. I thought I like math. I like math, but I love writing. And I'm like, and I have to tell you, PIVAT season in high school was my favorite season because that was a way for me to express and to prove my point. Because you're always right as long as you provide evidence. So I like to debate. I like to demonstrate that. Okay, I think this is correct, and let me tell you why this is correct. And PIVATs, you have the opportunity to show that. And yes, I would say because you have the power to create your own examination, applying the content of the class, it's gonna be easier for you to feel comfortable, right? Because you're learning in a comfortable environment. You're creating a comfort zone that is also teaching you how to be in different environments. You are not in the common environment that you were raised in. You are in an environment where you can teach others through your passion, I would say.
I want to thank all of our student panelists up here. You guys shared some very insightful information and stories, personal stories that really touched a lot of us. So thank you guys so much for being up here, for sharing your experiences. And thank you guys so much for listening to our wonderful student ambassadors. I'm going to pass it